Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 9 of Mad Dialogue with me, Michelle.
And me, Skylar.
This week, we are talking about teen pregnancy and the fact that, from what I can see, it's still happening. And when I say that, I mean, obviously, that's life, but surely the time that we are living in, that it should be on the decrease rather than the increase with the wealth of knowledge that is available to teenagers. And also, it's easy to obtain free contraception.
Yeah.
Right. So what's your views on teen pregnancy, being a teenager yourself?
So personally, to touch back on, the fact that literally, I know this might not be the same for everyone, but at my college, they do stuff like, they give out free condoms and STD tests and things like that, as the first thing to kind of say, addressing the fact that they know teenagers do have sex, but come with the necessary precautions, basically. But I also think, even up until the other day, I was in last year, I was in my maths class and there was a girl that was pregnant. And for me, I do find it crazy because with the amount that it's been talked on and the fact that I feel like parents, there's so much advice for them on how to deal with basically having teenagers, I just don't understand how it seems like it's kind of a purposeful thing to me, it feels like a trend. Like a lot of these girls, I've heard girls talk about wanting to get pregnant and that's kind of in their plan to do it soon. And for me, I'm just like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like, there's a part of me, as a female, there's a part of me that has a maternal side. And I'm like, yes, I'd love to have a baby. But then there's also that logical side to my head where I'm like, it couldn't work right now. And that's what I just don't understand, why a lot of girls don't have that logical side to say, let me wait,
See, I would be interested to know if it would change the percentage if they had because in America, and I saw a video the other day, and the girl came home with one of those simulated dolls where she wears the wristband, and when the baby cries, she has to tend to the baby, whether it be feeding it, change its nappy, soothing it, just like a baby, and a real baby. And it got to a point where the baby was crying. It was early hours of the morning, and the mum had to go and wake the daughter up. And the daughter was actually breaking down crying. She said she's never been so tired in her life. And this was just with the simulated doll. But the point I'm making is the doll has the added effect. I'm not sure if it was that school, but there was a comment under the video, and the woman said she was a teacher, and she said that the pregnancy rate percentage in her school at the time was 32%, and then when they introduced the doll, it went down to 5%.
But it just goes to show that I feel like what I say about the fact that it is not an accident really does stand.
I think as well, social media glamourizes
that
it a
too,
lot.
because I feel like with the shows, Teen Mums, they've got UK and America one. And even up until today, I was on Snapchat and it was this girl talking about how I hid my pregnancy in high school. And every day I see a new one of another teenage girl up here talking about her experience, good or bad, and I just think that publicity that a lot of these young girls get from being a teen mum, the minute I know girls that I've known since year 7, and the minute these girls have fell pregnant, they are on TikTok live and their caption is 16 and pregnant, and suddenly they're getting loads of likes and loads of views because people they glamorize it, and because people like the content for some reason, for so many different reasons, I don't know, but it does give these girls a bit of fame, and it does kind of, a lot of them think, okay, well, if I had a baby, then I can post up the baby, and that is also what brings them to, I think, make the decision.
So it's more like the baby's an accessory rather than it's an actual being that they have to, because what people are not realizing is all these young girls that are watching it, what they're not realizing they're showing that for 15 seconds, but they're not showing the other side of it where they're actually, fed up, tired, stressed out, the reality of being a mum, not just a teen mum, but
just a mum in general.
Anyway. But I feel like as a teen, and I can speak from experience, that I was 18 when I had your sister,
Mm.
and I will always say this, I was waiting. I had the contraceptive pill. I was just waiting for my period, but instead I got a baby.
Mm.
So fine, but the reality of it is I found it to be very, very hard.
Yeah.
It's not easy because you're still of a young mindset yourself. You still want that freedom. You still want to go out with your friends. You still want to do this, that, and the other. And all of a sudden, you've got
a whole life
grown,
in your hands,
adult
basically.
responsibilities.
Yeah.
And what more adult responsibility could you have than having to raise a child? You know what I'm saying?
Wait, so the age is you were pregnant when you were 17?
Yeah, basically. I had your sister in the June, and that year I turned 19 in the December. So yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. And so but there's the other side of it. There was a story the other day, an American girl, she'd gone with a school group on a tour to Paris, and she had been concealing a pregnancy. She gave birth in the hotel room, and in total denial, she wrapped the baby up in, I'm not sure if they said a blanket or a towel or whatever, and threw it out of the hotel window. And the baby obviously sustained injuries so severe that the baby passed away. Then you had a mother the other day, and she wasn't so much as a teenager, but she was still a young adult when she had her daughter, and she didn't like the restrictions that were in place now that she had a daughter. And this guy who had loads of money, ill-gotten gains, put it that way, he invited her on holiday, and basically she left her 2-year-old snacks and a bottle of milk and left for 6 days, and obviously the child died. So this is the thing I'm saying is more needs to be done to educate not just females but males too. I think if they introduce the simulated dolls in the UK schools, I think boys should get the dolls as well.
Oh, 100%.
Do you know what I mean? So that
because a lot of these boys are also quick to get girls pregnant, and because they can just go and leave.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's also what I find disgusting is sometimes, there's also, because there's always different situations in all, what's the word, teen pregnancy, there's always going to be different reasons on why people end up in the position they do. But it's about also, for instance, now that they've put in all the abortion bans in states in America, that the teen pregnancy is going to be so much higher because all of them young females who had the option to get abortions and, who that did, that's not there anymore. So also this is a lot of girls whether, they were in a situation like you where they were ready to take the precautions and, it was just, that happened, or, if it was a situation to go as far as them being raped or anything of the sort, they don't have that option now. And that's just going to add more to the fact that even if this wasn't in their plan to have a baby, they now have to raise a baby as young as they are, and that's what I just find is crazy, as well.
Yeah. But sorry, I'm picking up some feedback somewhere. I'm just gonna sorry everybody, we're back. We just had a little family emergency to attend to, but we're back, as we were saying. So I totally hear what you're saying there on that point, and this is another reason why shows like teen pregnancy that basically continues to basically glamorize it, because it does.
But this is the thing, see, and I was only watching a clip of Teen Mum the other day, and the clip I saw in particular was the teen mum and her partner. They were arguing on the doorstep, and their daughter, she was about 3 years old, and I remember I think he was stopping by to say hi to her, but because of how the mum was going on, he didn't want to stay or whatever. But basically it was just some big argument going on, and see that there, I think that is the complete opposite of glorifying something. Any episode I think I've seen on Teen Mum, it's been just some madness going on and someone's bawling and this, that, and
why
the other.
Would anybody
want to put themselves through that,
Exactly.
And that's what I'll never understand, because never once when I'm watching a show like that have I thought, oh, I want to go get pregnant,
But let me put it to you like this then. What about, because another thing that I have seen is you have they're not far off teenagers. They're very young couples.
Yeah, like the ones that are in like the early 20s and going and getting married
and having children. What's your views there?
Okay, see, the only thing is, me personally, the way I look at, because I've thought about this a lot as someone who, my main thing I want to do in life is have children. It may seem crazy to people, but I know what I want to do, and it's that. So for someone who, that's something I want to do, I always do think it does, for me, it doesn't matter as long as I'm legally an adult and I will have no issue taking my child to the hospital, let's say, and there'll be no difficulties there, and I can drive my children to A and B. I think as long as I am in the right financial position there, if I was 21 and I was comfortable and I'm there with my boyfriend, what's stopping me?
But what do you denote as comfortable? Do you know what I mean?
Because like I can afford,
a lot of people like myself, for example, if I was waiting to be comfortable, as you say, to have I would probably only have you and Ernie.
And okay. Facts. And that's the thing for me. I just think what is comfortable for me is knowing I have an income that I can provide for me and my family and my child, basically, and we can all survive and be happy and have food in our belly and clothes on our back and a roof over our head. Right now I know I couldn't do that, so that's what I mean in that sense of if I could have a family and have the finances to do so. But it's also that thing that when you say stuff like this and everyone's like, oh, but live your life and travel and do this, that and the other, but the way I look at it as well is how I want to live my life. I would have no issues with being 22, having a baby and traveling with the baby, if I've got the money for that, you know what I mean? So it's also that thing there where it's like everyone chooses to live their lives differently, but the way I look at it is just, why sabotage yourself on purpose?
Okay, so look at it. This is the point I'm making, or here's something that I'm putting to you. So you have a young girl who is a teenager, say 18, right? And her whole thing was that she fell pregnant. It was accidental. Her boyfriend chose not to stay, so henceforth now she's a single mother. Then you have this young lady here who is the same age, but her partner and her decided they were going to get married, and so therefore she might have already been pregnant, and then they decided to get married, whatever the case may be. It's still, for me, the mindset. You're still both 18. You're still both very young, even if this one has done it traditional and this one is like going to be looked at like now the drain of society. The fact of the matter is they're still both 18 and still both have a certain mindset. So do you think age plays a part? Or do you think, because me personally, I always used to say age plays a part, but I have seen mothers that are in their 30s and an 18-year-old mother, and the 18-year-old mother's doing better than the 30-year-old.
See, for me, it always just depends on the person.
So that's why, like, it should be more mindset than your age.
Definitely. But it's also, the only reason I say age is because when I think teen pregnancy, I'm also thinking about these 14-year-olds that get pregnant, and there is a lot. But I would see these girls on TikTok, and I'll be like, oh, like, she's pregnant and whatever, and people be like, how old are you? And she's saying 18. But then in the next breath, I'm finding out this girl's literally in year 9. But they also look so mature as well, and they look older than me, and I just find it so crazy, because I'm like,
but I do, coming from a place now where I'm the age that I am, I personally feel that any age where it's got teen in it, you really shouldn't be having children, because there's so much more in life that you should and could and would experience if you wasn't with child. And I'm not saying that you can't still go on to have a good life.
No, of course not, because I've seen many do it.
It's a downside harder. So me personally, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not looking for this to be your path, but if you was in that situation, would you have the baby? Say like it was you now, you would?
Honestly, and this is the thing, knowing how difficult it would be and how, because I'm not someone that, I don't go out often and stuff, I don't go chill with my friends like that, I'll go see Beckett and that's really it. So as someone like that, even though I don't go out, I still do know that it would change my life drastically, in the sense of I can't just wake up at 3:00 in the afternoon if I want to, but because of the type of person I am, and just, I just couldn't live with myself if I didn't go through with it, no matter how difficult I know it would be for me. But then there's also that other side where if there was another girl who is my age who decided that she couldn't go through with it, she got the abortion, each to their own, innit? But for me personally, I think I would have to, you know? And yeah, no matter how difficult it'd be, because I just couldn't. I just couldn't know that I have my baby inside of me, and yeah.
And I think that's what happens with a lot of girls when they find themselves in that situation.
And that's why it's so difficult as well.
That's how it was for me.
This is what I'm saying, because that's why, and it is a fear of mine as well, because I know I would, like, I'm already getting ready to cry just thinking about it, but I know, like, no matter, like, how much it would change my life and fuck up my plans, like, I would have to, you know? And I feel like that's the worst thing about it. That's why it's a fear of mine, because I'm like, if it was to ever happen, I would know, like, there would be no talking me out of it. Like,
just keep necking your pill, girl. You'll be all right. You'll be all right.
Every day I'm on
it. You're going to be graced enough that you will be able to choose when the time is that you want to have your offspring. You know what I mean? And whenever that is, you know, I'm not too soon, and I say that purely because I know how hard it is, and I just want you.
And that's crazy, because even
life.
Hearing you say, okay, you became a mum at 18 and doing the maths and realizing, because for some reason I thought you were pregnant at 18 and then had her at 18 as well.
No,
I didn't realize that you were my ages right now. Like, oh my gosh, like, could you imagine me waddling around pregnant?
Thankfully, no. Thankfully, no. Like, you know, as your mum, you know, you know, when you have stumbling blocks in your life, I think that's the best way to put it. And lessons to learn. You would much rather you're the one that goes through them and learns them. You don't want that for your children. So, no, I would prefer that, you know, when it's your time and years from now, because you deserve to show yourself self-love and enjoy and experience life to the fullest. And then when you've done all of that, then you can say, you know what, now I'm ready to start a family, because you can't pour from an empty cup. And at 18, you don't know yourself.
But this is
the
my
way
thing, like,
how you will know yourself at 25.
And the decisions you make and just everything. You know? It's like,
and so on.
It's so crazy to me. And this is why I see these girls, and props to them, you know, they're doing their thing, they're raising their babies, but
are they? Because how much help did it? Because a lot of the time you will see these girls have these babies, and it's a lot of the time it's left to their mum.
Yeah, and there's obviously cases like that. But do you know what I've seen recently is a lot of these parents, because there was one mum I was watching, and she said she was like you. She's like, I've preached and preached to my daughters, you know, the about sex, and I've given them like these options to come and talk to me if anything, and we can sort it out. She was like, but she's like, I can count on my hands how many times my daughter's left the house unsupervised. Yeah, that's how she's going on. But her 15-year-old daughter ended up pregnant. But she said she's not helping. She said, I'm going to be there for her as her mother and as a grandmother. She was like, but not as a mother for the baby. And she didn't like post interview after the daughter had the baby, and you could tell she looked tired, and she said she loves having a baby, but it's hard, you know. And she said her mum's never got up once in the night. So a lot of these parents, I don't blame her. I see a lot of them putting their foot down, and I totally get that, because you've done your time, you know. I don't blame her mum and no one told the daughter to go get pregnant, and that's her choice now. And you know, it's
especially this day and age, like, you know, there's really no excuses. And so if you find yourself pregnant, then like you said, you purposely set out to do that. And you know, I mean, and don't get me wrong, I know there are some girls that will take to it like a duck to water, and, you know, that's their calling, and they'll probably be there like, no, that's not what it's like. But even so, the financial side of things, the emotional, all of that.
And also the fact as well is
it's a lot.
So you're still, because I think as well, like, I'm still going through puberty in a sense. So it's also like the hormone changes and differences that you go through, they last up to 2 years postpartum. Your body is not the same ever. Like, there's so many different things that go on as well. So also the fact that you've barely left that, you're still going through your adolescence, puberty, and then to have all them pregnancy hormones part of that as well, I feel it must affect the undeveloped brain a lot.
It's essentially a child raising a child.
Yeah.
And once again, I say this coming from experience, because I thought when I fell pregnant, oh, okay, you know, I can do this. I've looked after my siblings for years. No, it's not the same, because, you know, with my siblings,
you get a break.
Yeah, the responsibility wasn't 24/7.
Yeah.
You know, it might have felt like it at times, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
And so when it becomes your child, then it is. And it's a whole different ball game. So to any young,
I was just about to say,
any young girls out there, if you're listening to this,
please just hear us out.
Before you do anything, before you have sex, am I allowed to say that on here?
Yes.
Okay. Before you do that, you know, speak to someone. And if you can't speak to someone, you know, there are places you can go and obtain things. Take the
literally just search on Google where to get free stuff.
You do your homework too.
Yeah.
Okay,
and stop expecting girls to pull up with the condoms, okay? Because it goes on your penis, not theirs. So
and
pull up with the condoms.
And furthermore,
just saying.
I am seeing as well that there are a lot more single fathers nowadays than there were in my time. So then, you know, a lot of these young ladies are realizing, yeah, I'm not cut out for this, and duck out, you know,
which is the next thing. So,
you know, and
so don't think your gal won't run away from you.
And if anybody from the government is listening, you might want to take into consideration to get them simulation dolls in the UK schools, so that
you only need like 30 dolls, because you could do it in a different class like every week. You don't even need bare. But honestly, because you lot always want to complain about these single mums on benefits and stuff, but if you just put the money into this problem solved. Look, women in STEM, listen to us, guys.
This will help.
But seriously, any girls like in my age group, younger, if you're thinking about younger, older, whatever, if you're thinking about having a baby, like, honestly, I don't want to say please don't, but as someone who,
I'll say it then, please don't.
But like, as someone who's in the same boat, like, no, we're not in the same boat. I'm not thinking about having a baby, but you know, like having sex, you know, just go get a condom. You can even get the female ones, and they're doing birth control for free as well. You can get it free through the NHS and also other apps as well if you're too scared to call up your GP.
Is free, isn't it?
No, but if you're doing it outside of the NHS, but they do also offer things as well. If you don't want to go through your GP, you can get apps and talk to people where you can get this for free. Like, there is places out here for you to talk to, you know. Just don't do it, guys, because you will probably regret it, and you'll never get to go outside again freely. You
need to find that number for me. We will put it in the caption. Yeah. Okay. So,
and Boots do free condoms sometimes.
Skylar knows a lot, doesn't she? We won't even go into
Look, I pay for mine. I pay my bills. My bills.
Allow me. Oh dear. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. As always, I am sending you an abundance of love and light. It is goodbye from me, Michelle, and goodbye from Skylar.
Bye.
Bye.